Hey, this is Professor Triplet, and we are going through nonlinear deformers. And we've already looked at bend, so now we're going to look at flare. And we're just going to go a little bit faster now because I explained most of the basics with the bend deformer. So let's go ahead and just select this object, hit flare, and you can see I got these two curves that popped up. And these curves allow us to manipulate this. Now, one thing I didn't mention in the bend tutorial is that if you hit T on your keyboard for your transform tool, you actually get an interactive tool in the viewport that you can actually play around with. And so I can flare right from in here, and then I can grab this guy right here and bulge it out if I want. Now, as much as this is kind of cool that you can interact with it like this, I personally prefer not to use this tool. So I'm going to go ahead and just hit Q, and that'll get back to my regular tool. And I'm going to come to the flare in my channel box, and I'm going to manipulate it through here. So 0.6, we'll go like that, and I'll select both these together and say 0.7, something like that. And then the curve is this right here. And so basically you can see what this is doing. So the flare is basically just allows you kind of to taper this thing. It allows you to bulge a curve or kind of concave it a little bit. You've got a low bounds and high bounds, just like the other objects do, or I should say the other deformers do. And let's go ahead and I want to show something kind of fun that you can do with this. So let's go ahead and just put all this back to 1, and let's turn the curve off, put that at 0, and then we'll go ahead and just change these back to, actually that's 0, that's going to be 1, and that should be actually -1. There we go. Okay, so now we got all those back together. I'm going to mess with the high bound and low bound. I'm going to kind of make those a little bit closer there. Now I'm going to bulge it like that. So basically, check this out. So if I hit W, I can go ahead and use my move tool, and I can manipulate this movement here. And it looks like there's kind of like a ball going through there. So I'm going to move it all the way up here, and I'm going to create a sphere. And then that sphere, I'm going to change to about 20, oh, maybe a little less. Let's do 10. Okay. So let's move that up. We'll go into our top view really quick, and I'm just going to place that right there. Let's go back to the perspective and move it down a little bit. Now, I'm going to kind of pretend that I'm doing an animation here, and what I can do is I can take this sphere and I can parent it to the flare, the sphere to the flare. And to do that, all I have to do is middle mouse drag the sphere on top of the flare and let go. So you can see a little plus came out here, and this shows that I have the sphere parented to the flare. So the flare is kind of like the one that's in control, like a parent would be, or should be. Sometimes the kids are in control. You know that if you're a parent. All right, so as I move this, you can have that ball just follow right along, and it looks like it's enveloping this, kind of like a cartoon, the ball going through a hose or something like that. So anyway, that's just a fun way that you can do that. And if you want to set a key on it, you can actually have that selected and go to your first frame here, and I can hit S on my keyboard, and you'll see a little red hat mark came in here, and that's setting a key. And you can look up here in my channel box, and now there's this little red mark against all of these, and that's just showing that that this thing is basically been keyed on all of those. And then I can move over to, let's just move to the end, and I'm going to go ahead and move this down, and then I'm just going to hit S on my keyboard and set another key. So now I've got another key. So now if I run my timeline, you can see that's how I would do like a little animation with this. All right, so that's some fun stuff, and that's it for the flare. And I'm going to go ahead and move on to the sine wave next.